This video is going to be a little different than the usual videos that I post. I'm gonna bring this to light because I'm kind of astounded yet not surprised at the lengths that some Overwatch players go to. My friends were just playing Overwatch. Mistake number one, I know. It is your typical Overwatch match, we're just trying to do our best as supports. Fortunately, as some Overwatch matches tend to go to, the DPS start crying and wishing for healing, even though, we, in this match, we're kind of getting rolled by a Reaper. You'll kind of see that more later in the video as I'm showing my gameplay along with the other person's POV. You'll see why I wanted to include their POV in a little bit. At a certain point, our DPS ended up dying to the enemy team, ended up spamming for healing, and then just said heals in the chat. I think I ended up saying something like maybe DPS better or something, just because I tend to get frustrated with DPSs that are begging for heals while we're trying to, keep everyone else alive. Which I do admit that we were probably heal botting a lot in this game, but it's kind of difficult not to just try and maybe use the blue beam for mercy and maybe try to get some kills with Life Weaver's Thorns. But with the new DPS passive, it's just a lot of damage that we have to try to keep up with. I also mentioned that I'm not a high rank player. I don't claim to be a high rank player, nor do I want to be. This is just me playing casually with friends. Again, you can play casually in Overwatch, that's why we have quick play. And then the person started being really weird, and then they mentioned their TikTok in the chat for some reason. So I was like, why put your TikTok on here as if that's gonna prove anything? From there, they just kind of kept insulting us and just being really toxic for no reason. I know I said DPS better, but again, that's what you would expect, normal DPS support banter in Overwatch. Now, normally that would just kind of be the end of it, just some trash talking in the chat, in Overwatch, whatever. But what got me was that after the game, I got a message on my actual TikTok that I use. I know I probably shouldn't have, but morbid curiosity got the better of me, and I ended up looking at their TikTok page. And what got me was that they have 10.5k followers on that account. You're claiming you're a professional Overwatch player and you have this supposed big following, yet when you have people who aren't either healing you or aren't going to the full potential that you probably are, you send them these messages? You don't see Flats or Emong sending these kinds of messages to people on their team that just happen to be not doing so great, or maybe are even bad players. You have this big following apparently, so, I wanted to make a video on it because if you have this following, then your attitude needs to be called out. Which I did. I ended up making a short video just kind of showing them being just kind of really rude in the game and showing the messages that they sent me. And apparently they didn't like being called out because they actually tried taking down my video. They said my video was one-sided and it didn't show the full story, so I'm showing as many of the messages that I can in this video. Basically, they asked for heals, all I said was DPS better, and again, it's trash talking in Overwatch. You're getting heated over something so minimal, so stupid. And yeah, I'm probably also kind of getting heated as well, but the fact that they sent me personal messages on my TikTok, that's the part that got me. That's the part that really made me want to make this video. And it was probably my mistake to keep messaging this person, but I just was like, you have anything else to add? And of course they did. They kept saying how I apparently had the worst stats in the game, saying how I'm trying to get clout, which I wasn't really. Again, if they had just left this trash talk on Overwatch, I wouldn't be making this video. But the fact that they were just kept going on and on in my DMs, that's what made me want to just expose how they truly are. They said that I blamed the DPS for it, but all I said was just DPS better. Because you're begging for healing when we're clearly being overtaken by a Reaper. We can't do two things at once. You're over there being Echo or being Mei, doing your own weird thing, trying to 1v5 the whole entire team, and we're over here trying to support everybody else. All I said was DPS better, and we're getting flanked by a Reaper. But they themselves were the ones that kept going on and on saying you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's okay, obviously we know, but you also have to do your job in the game as well. You have to understand your positioning and your team's positioning and see what the enemy is doing. Because if you look at, the kill feed on the top right corner, you could see that, we're being killed by a Reaper every so often, but you're off being, a flank DPS. And again, you claim that you are top 500, but looking back at like the way you play, like I don't see how you are. Like I've seen top 500 players and your aim suggests you are not that. Yes, you are top 500 support, but not top 500 DPS. But it was you that brought up the whole fact that, oh, you're top 500, so you have more game sense than me. And the reason I know you're probably not really top 500 either is because even if you're playing DPS as a top 500 support, you would still know what to do. You would still kind of have like a game sense. You have a better knowledge of how the game works and how players play. And like looking back at the footage, like this isn't like top 500 like player sense that I'm seeing. And like I also looked at your account, like no top 500 usually has a private account, or maybe they do, but most of them like they like to show people their stats. But when I try to look at your career profile, like you have everything locked and your endorsement is level 1. Now normally I know endorsements is it's stupid, there's no point to it. But you have endorsement level 1. That screams a little suspicious to me. You know, I'm not trying to say anything. If you want a private profile, then you're more than free to. But again, usually, like accounts like this are a little suspicious when they claim to be top 500 but have endorsement level 1. I don't even see like the old Overwatch border on there, so this feels like a new account to me. Again, I'm not saying or claiming anything. I should also preface this by saying that, you know, if you're top 500 and you're in a quick play, you don't have to be, you know, going all out, treating this as like a no holds bar kind of match. If you just want to, you know, play the game and do your best, then that's totally fine. But you're wanting heals when, you know, we are obviously being rolled in this game. Could they have done better? Obviously. Could I have done better? Obviously. But every game in Overwatch is different because you're being put with people of different ranks. Sometimes you'll come out of the game feeling like you're the best ever, and sometimes it's going to be like this game where we think we're doing okay, but in the end, you know, we're just getting like our cheeks slapped. I also want to mention that like I'm not saying you can't rage in these kinds of games. Like obviously, you know, you get frustrated because, you know, with the premise of at least Overwatch, you know, it's 2 teams and one is going to be the victor. And of course, your main goal in the game is to win. But if you're gonna go really far and to just start like telling your teammates like, hey, you need to do this way because, you know, we need to win. And it's like, obviously, we know we're trying our best. Not everyone you're gonna be playing with is going to have like the same kind of apparent game sense that you also have. You're gonna win some games and you're gonna lose some games. That's just the reality of the whole thing. They were saying how I was toxic because, you know, I trash talked them back and that's not okay, which, you know, yeah, in hindsight, it's not okay. You know, and I will take blame for that. You know, trash talking is an unnecessary evil of any kind of like multiplayer game, but it's not something that everyone should engage in. Compared to like how far this person went, like they say they're apparently nice and helpful. Like how is just saying heal in the chat helpful in any way? Like, if you want to be toxic back, okay, cool, go for it, go off in the chat, I guess. But why are you bringing it on to TikTok and DMing me personally? That's the part that got me floored. You know, both parties are at fault here. Me for like talking back to them and them for like just being, you know, a bit of a greedy DPS. But I'm still going to be a little bit upset about it because you said, oh, you didn't take it that far, but you literally went to go find my social media and message me. I looked at your social media, but I didn't send you anything at all. But if we're comparing 2 evils here, I think you're the one who kind of did like the highest offense here. And like, this person is a support player apparently, so they know the struggles of being a support. So why are you going after your fellow supports? I don't get it. Like a person who had messaged me talking about like this whole situation, they actually went on this person's profile and saw a video of them like talking about like this exact situation. Like how are you going to do the one thing that you yourself don't like? I honestly don't get it at all, so most likely it feels like this person's probably a troll, but I just wanted to get this off my chest. For anyone watching this video, don't go to this person's page, don't send them any hate, don't waste your breath, even though I did. What I did obviously wasn't the smartest choice either. I just kind of want to call out this kind of like attitude that comes from these kinds of people, which, you know, again, normally I wouldn't do, but considering that they apparently have this big following, it has to be said. Something has to like come to light. I still play Overwatch with my friends from time to time, so hopefully this person gets reported and banned and we can just continue to play in our like lackluster peace.